Leaders! Sending you great love and chi, my beautiful brothers and sisters. Check out this video by Paul Barron, where he describes his sovereignty stack to thrive in the new on-chain financial system. And ironically and perfectly, these are the same 4 assets that I have been accumulating since 2020 because I've done my fucking research. Use discernment. Love you guys.
No way. I think that Trump and this administration, including Scott Bessent, realize now that they are really forced to get into a new exit strategy, which I think is the control grid. And if you look at that, there's a couple of people who have talked about this before. If you can control the currency and you can program the population spending habits, then you basically can manage the debt collapse without a revolution. That's the key. Manage the debt collapse. So that way they're not, losing everything and all in one. And I know that's crazy to say, but the point being is that we are in a statement right now for society that I think we will look back on in a decade and realize this was when freedoms were given up the most. So be on the lookout for this, because I think the key here is what I call the sovereignty stack. And if you look at this, how do you exit? These are the things I'm looking at. I'm looking at XRP. I'm looking at XLM, Stellar. I'm looking at gold. As we start to see more sophisticated investors taking a look at the tokens that are going to have exit velocity out of this system. In many cases, it's going to be gold. Tokenized goes, whether you go with Paxos or XAUT, Tether Gold, or if you're doing self-custody and doing something like physical gold, all of that's fine. But I think right now, you've got to look at XRP, Monero, and XLM. These are the ones, and they are basically the role for when, and I think the inevitable time of when we see this switch start to occur. One other thing I want you to kind of consider here when you think about, the survival kit you're going to need for the near future. If you look at physical gold, that's kind of an ultimate off switch, no counterparty risk. The key here, it doesn't leave a digital footprint. Key here, of course, is whether or not we continue to see pressure on physical gold and whether or not physical gold becomes a backstop to whether it is stablecoins or possibly to the US debt at some point. So think about it. I think the bridge is going to be XRP. This is going to be everything from moving in and out. You're going to have the capacity, I think, to where we're going to see larger transactions, obviously within bank to bank. But I think XRP is going to be one of the tokens that is held for value proposition because of its ability to operate within the controlled system going forward. And then, of course, I think the People's Rail, as they call it, is Stellar. This is really built for microtransactions. So this might end up being a payment model that we'll see for, it's always kind of been around the unbanked, but I think this is going to translate into the sovereignty stack for how people are going to be able to use Stellar in the future. But at some point, we are going to see more control. It's very possible we are in the first stages of programmable money. The only thing, as I said, that I think keeps you away from that is going to be gold, XRP. I think obviously Stellar is going to be a big play on this.